In episode 20, I shared my method for setting your child up for a smooth breakup with the pacifier. I then received several requests to discuss thumb sucking, so today that's what I'm going to do. I'll also share the story about Addison starting to suck her thumb not long after we got rid of her pacifier and how we helped her put an end to that habit. Before I dive in today, I want to share that enrollment is open for my preschool sleep program that also comes with the opportunity to join me for 7 support Zoom sessions that I'm going to be offering throughout May. While my program called Your Preschool Sleep Champion is always open for enrollment, it only comes with these special Zoom sessions 3 times per year. I won't be offering coaching like this again until September. So if you're looking for an easy way to get some extra support from me while you improve your 2.5 to 6 year old's sleep, now is the time to join. To learn more, visit www.allisonegidi.com/YPSC or just click on the link in the show notes. Or if you can't find that, shoot me a DM on Instagram and I will send you everything you need to know. Hi, I'm Allison Egidi, a pediatric sleep and wellness coach and a mom of 2. I love to help parents find solutions. This is How Long Till Bedtime. As parents, we get to choose whether or not we're going to offer a pacifier to our child. But we don't really get to choose on thumb or finger sucking because we can't take away our children's digits. In fact, this is one of the arguments for offering a pacifier because if you offer a pacifier and it helps you avoid having a child who sucks their thumb or their finger, you can eventually take that pacifier away, which means that can be a habit that's typically easier to break. For those hoping to not deal with thumb or finger sucking, please know that if a baby is going to become a thumb or finger sucker, I honestly don't think that there's a whole lot you can do about it beyond trying to offer a pacifier instead. I always encourage the parents in my Have Baby Need Sleep newborn program to actually not waste a lot of energy on trying to prevent their babies from sucking their thumb or their fingers. We have enough on our minds, and I just don't think this is worth our energy. Because if your child has that strong desire to soothe through non nutritive sucking, and they don't have or they don't want a pacifier, they are likely going to find a finger or a thumb to suck on, maybe even multiple fingers. And unless you plan to stay up all night and pull that thumb or pull those fingers out of their mouth, which by the way is going to be very disruptive to their sleep, there just really isn't much you can do to stop this behavior in the infant year. With Addison, my oldest, she actually started sucking her thumb shortly after we took away her pacifier when she turned 3. So, not too long after we went through the whole pacifier breakup that I walk you through those steps in episode 20, we actually had to pivot and break up with the thumb sucking as well because she had a very strong desire for that non nutritive sucking as part of her soothing. And she did from the moment she was born. So, she pivoted as soon as we took away that pacifier. So, when it comes to the thumb sucking and finger sucking, just like with the pacifier, most pediatric dentists I've talked to say that it's best to try to limit thumb sucking to sleep once your child is 2 years old, and best to get your child to stop sucking their thumb or their finger by the age of 3 years old. Prolonged thumb and finger sucking can negatively affect the structure of your child's mouth, and it can actually cause permanent damage to the thumb or the finger that your child sucks on. Okay, so for the rest of this episode, just to simplify things, when I refer to thumb sucking, I'm also talking about finger sucking. So, just like with the pacifiers, you want to prepare your child for the upcoming transition of only sucking their thumb in bed once they are 2, and then stop the thumb sucking habit once they are 3. We want to talk about this and get them ready for this transition. About a month ahead of your child's second birthday, start preparing them for the change, that change of only sucking their thumb in the crib. And just like with a pacifier, if you have a child who's a really challenging car passenger, maybe you say the crib in the car. At least a few times per week, you want to say something like, hey, when you turn 2, it's time to only suck your thumb in the crib, in the car maybe, because you're becoming a big girl and sucking your thumb during the day isn't good for your teeth. If you're upbeat about this and you give them plenty of time to adjust to the idea, you're probably going to be amazed at how quickly they can handle this change when they turn 2. The moment they turn 2 on that second birthday, follow through on what you said. And each time you see them sucking their thumb outside of the crib, you're going to gently remind them that it's not time to be sucking their thumb. If your child goes to daycare or preschool, you're going to want to ask the care providers or teachers to do the same thing there. It's going to take everyone's help to help your child break the habit because the thumb is always with them. As you prepare for truly ending that habit, I suggest prepping your child for 1 to 3 months in advance of their third birthday. You'll say something like, you're almost 3 years old, and when you turn 3, it's time to stop sucking your thumb altogether because you're a big boy and sucking your thumb isn't good for your teeth or for your thumb. See that little bump it's starting to get? Because a lot of times by that point, they're going to have a visual cue or a visual kind of boo-boo, if you will, from sucking. So you'll point to that. So you'll say, continuing to suck your thumb isn't good for your teeth or your thumb. And you can remind them of this a couple times a week when they are 2 to 3 months out from their third birthday. And then that month before, start reminding them several nights per week. You can just say, do you remember what's going to happen when you turn 3? And what you want them to say is something like, it's time to stop sucking my thumb. They may be less bummed out about it, but sometimes it's kind of like la-di-da-di-da. And then you'll say, that's right, because once you're 3 years old, it's not good for your teeth or your thumb. So when you turn 3, you're going to stop sucking your thumb when you sleep, and I'm going to help remind you. Super easy, right? No, I'm kidding. I know many of you are thinking, if it was that easy, I wouldn't be listening to this episode. Okay, so for the 2 to 3 weeks following your child's third birthday, you're going to be consistently reminding them at bedtime and nap time that it's important to not suck their thumb. For some, this is going to be enough. I literally had a call with a client yesterday who followed this exact plan, and her son immediately stopped sucking his thumb on his third birthday with no reminding from her. She was absolutely blown away. But even if your child has the best intentions of actually stopping sucking their thumb, you're going to want to watch on the monitor to see if they're actually able to resist that urge when they're tired, or once they fall asleep, when they're kind of moving around in their sleep, if they're able to not stick their thumb in their mouth. Because a lot of it is just, at this point, habit. They don't even think about it. It's just kind of wired into their behavior. So you need to be checking in to see if they're actually able to do it, even for those who are totally on board. If they are struggling to resist that urge, whether it's intentional or unintentional, you want to point out that you've noticed they're having a hard time and that you will keep reminding them. But if they're still having a hard time in a few weeks, that just means they need some extra help, which is totally okay. And you're going to help them by painting something that tastes yucky on their thumbnail. That way, whenever they forget and they go to put that thumb in their mouth, the yucky taste is going to remind them that they shouldn't be sucking their thumb. I'm going to link to the nail polish I used for Addison in the show notes because we did do this with her. And I'll just say you want to follow the directions on the box or the directions that you receive from your child's dentist as to how best to use that polish. It's important that as you talk about the possibility of using the nail polish, or as you're actually using it, you don't want to make the polish sound like a punishment. It's simply a tool to help them break this habit because you realize this is a tough habit to break, even for those who want to break it. That was Addison. The nail polish worked beautifully for Addison, but I know for some kids, they're going to be so determined to suck their thumbs that they don't even care about the nasty tasting nail polish. If that's the case for your child, I would talk to a pediatric dentist about the possibility of using a mouth appliance that deters the thumb sucking. On the note of the dentist, I highly recommend that you utilize your child's dentist during this time of transition. When you see your child's dentist between their second and third birthday, have the dentist further reiterate that it's really important that they only suck their thumb when they're sleeping for now, while they're 2. And that it's really important that they totally stop sucking their thumb when they turn 3 years old. So again, with Addison, we totally utilized the dentist. We did for the pacifier breakup, and then we were back to discuss the thumb. And her dentist just explained that we would give her a bit more time to try to stop sucking her thumb when she would sleep. But if she couldn't, he said that was okay. And we would help her with the bad tasting nail polish. And he explained it's similar to what I had, what it would be like, and that it would just be a really helpful way so she didn't always have to be thinking about it. He then told her that while he was really sure the nail polish would be enough to help her because she had good intentions of stopping, if for some reason she still had a hard time, that he would help her by installing this appliance in the top of her mouth so she actually wouldn't be able to suck her thumb. She wouldn't be able to get that suction on the finger or the thumb. When he did this, he was not trying to scare her at all. He was just clearly explaining how the appliance would work and was clear that this would be something we could use to help her. That way, if we ended up needing to use the appliance, she wasn't going to be surprised or upset. Addison did really try on her own to stop sucking her thumb. But when she was tired, she would just stick that thumb in her mouth without even thinking about it. And because we had prepped her for the polish, she wasn't upset at all about using it. And within a week of starting to use that polish, the habit was completely broken. So that's how I recommend helping your child break that habit of sucking their thumb or their finger. The one thing I want to strongly discourage parents from doing is putting tape on your child's thumb or finger. I have a friend who is a plastic surgeon, and I will never forget her telling me that during her residency, they had to amputate a child's thumb because the parents had accidentally taped the child's thumb just a little bit too tightly. She said that this isn't actually all that uncommon. So while I know taping the thumb is a common recommendation online because I looked it up before recording this podcast to see, are people actually getting this recommendation? And they are. It is all over the internet. Please don't put tape on your child's thumb or finger. There are other safer ways to help them break this habit. I hope you found this episode helpful. And before we wrap up, I just want to remind you that you can enroll for my May Your Preschool Sleep Champion coaching sessions. And they are open now. So in just 2 to 3 weeks, you can go from having bedtimes that take hours and middle of the night wakings to having a child who happily goes through their bedtime routine in less than 30 minutes and confidently sleeps in their own bed all night. The welcome Zoom call is on Wednesday, May 3rd, so go ahead and enroll today. Shoot me a DM on Instagram or find the link in the show notes. I hope you'll join me again here next week. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to How Long Till Bedtime. To learn how we can work together to improve your child's sleep, please visit sleepandwellnesscoach.com.